All right, friends, here we go with part two of the second issue that came up this summer that I'd read about but never experienced. And on this one, I don't have near as exciting of an end of this story, but it's still, for me, it's a win in the long run. So, like I had explained, I had mixed up some prohibit in July or August. I had some rams that I was having issues with internal parasites. And I had already used a different dewormer on them, and it didn't do its job. And then when I went to go do it again, I realized that that dewormer was past its expiration date. So it had no effect, really, basically, on those lambs. So then I eventually went to prohibit. And at that point, those lambs had been out in the pasture that did not have access to the barn. So I had brought those ram lambs into the barn, and I had actually penned them in for a while so that as they would shed internal parasites, it would be in the barn and not in the grass to help keep the parasite load on the pasture as low as I could. Now, back then we were in a horrible drought, so we didn't have a lot of, the grass was dry in the morning, we didn't have dew. And I think that kind of helps keep those parasites in that stage of their life. It's helpful because they tend to like warm and moisture. They had warm, they just didn't have the moist grass. But in spite of that, I had them in the barn so that as they expelled those parasites, they would not re-ingest them. And so these things were enclosed. And we got an incredible fly infestation. I don't know if I'm saying the right word, but anyhow, I think you know what I mean. Lots of flies. And so I had read about fly strike, and I knew I didn't want it. But I had never experienced it. In the first 3 years, there was no issues with fly strike. But with these lambs having diarrhea really bad from killing off the bacteria and the internal parasites, their bottoms were quite, most of them, not all, but most of them were quite moist with manure. So I noticed I had a couple of them, or one or two, that were not, they were acting a little lethargic. They were acting, they were separating themselves from the rest of the ram somewhat. And I didn't realize it would be a fly issue initially. But within a day or so, I got to looking closer and I saw that there were a lot of flies after them. So I had gotten a hose and water and a brush. Maybe I didn't have the hose, but I had a bucket of water and a brush, and I was trying to clean their bottoms really well. And I realized that it looked like I may have had some flies lay eggs that were like larvae now moving around. So I tried to clean them up really good and tried to get ahead of it. And I left the lambs now go out in the pasture so that they wouldn't be in the barn where the infestation, there you go, that's the right word. Infestation of flies wasn't so bad, and I'd put up fly strips to help, but there were so many of them. And as I worked with them and got better feel for it, I realized that one of them had a huge infestation. And so I went to butcher it. I decided to butcher, and I did, butcher it, except once I got to actually pulling the skin down off the legs, I realized they had majorly got into around the rump and that. And so it really grossed me out. And I didn't harvest any of that meat around there. I did get some of the front legs and stuff where they had not penetrated the skin. So then I was really highly aware of fly strike, and I was ahead on it, and ended up butchering a couple or three that I could see were getting to where I wasn't going to be able to take care of it, and butchered them, and we ended up with meat to eat. So that's, you know, that is a win as far as I didn't lose those lambs to fly strike. And I have learning yet to do, but I will at least be aware of the situation and ahead of it for future, hopefully. Thank you so much for watching the video, and have a blessed day. Bye.